Today we're with Cooking with Nana. We're going to be making some meat pies. First we're going to start heating the oil, and then we'll add our onions, green peppers, celery, garlic, now the recipe calls for 90% lean ground beef. But today, because I don't normally buy 90%, I'm going to use some stewed meat and break it down so that it's little pieces, so when you bite into the pie, the meat, all the stuffing of the pie doesn't come out in one bite and make a giant mess. Look at all those pretty colors. We're going to add so much flavor to this dish. We're going to add some salt to this and let it sweat. Release all those flavors. I started these videos because my grandson asked me to teach him how to cook. We hadn't been able to get together, so I decided to do videos and let him watch them on YouTube so that he could learn how to adjust his flavors and make more dishes. He cooks for his family at least twice a week. They all take turns cooking, and that saves money from having to get takeout. Somebody's had a bad day and they don't feel like cooking, something like that. That money could go into your grocery bills, or you could save it. What I want to do here with my videos is teach people how to bulk up their meals so that their food will last and spend less on their groceries and still have a good meal. Now, most of the time when I cook a double batch. But if I'm making this for the first time, then I follow the recipe pretty much as it's stated, because I want to try it first, and if me or my family likes it, then I'll make a double batch next time. You don't want to make something that you're not sure that your family will like. If you want to try a new recipe, just do it as it says. And then, after everybody tastes it and tells you what they think, then if your family liked it, or if it just needed a little tweak, then you can do that on your next batch. You can double the recipe, eat one that day, and put one in a freezer bag for next time. You have to wait until it's totally cooled before you put it in a bag, because it may be too hot and melt a little bit of the plastic from the bag, or it may put just enough condensation to make everything mushy. You don't want to do that. Mushy food does not feel good in your mouth. So, now that this is all sauteed, we're going to add our meat. Break it apart and let it brown. We're going to add some salt and pepper. Now, my family likes a lot of pepper. So, we're going to brown the meat. While we're browning, we're going to add a little bit of flour to it to make our roux. Now, this flour will thicken your sauce and provide a little extra to your sauce so that it won't break unless you add too much of other things to it. Now, sometimes flour and oil does not stay together. Therefore, you have to do other things to make it all not separate. You don't want to cook your ingredients too much, just enough so your sauce does not break apart. Let it brown a little bit more, and then we'll add our broth. You're going to cook this down until the meat falls apart. You don't want big chunks in your meat pie. We're going to add a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder, pinch of ground cloves. Now, cloves is very strong. You don't add too much. And let me find my red pepper flakes. Garlic pepper here. Let's add that. And then some broth. Normally I make my own broth, but seeing as how I don't have my own broth right now, we'll just use some of the store-bought that I found on sale. You want to scrape the brown bits off the pan while you deglaze it. This adds the flavor that's already been cooked on the pan to your sauce. This will make a good stew. See how that sauce has changed with the broth and the roux in there? Now, we're going to put the lid on for a while and let it cook. I intend to feed some of this to the guys that my husband works with. Some of them don't have anybody to cook for them, and they can't cook themselves, except for maybe hamburgers and french fries and things like that. So a good meal always makes everyone feel better. Yes, I cooked down some and I added some more broth because I want all these flavors to mix well. Add some hot sauce too and some red pepper flakes. It'll give it a little zing, but not too much. You don't want to overpower your food with spices. This would make a good beef stew. So remember, when you see stew meat on sale, you might want to pick it up, or you could do what I used to do when I was younger. Now, I would see roasts on sale, and then I would bring it home, freeze it halfway, and then chop it up into pieces and make something else out of it. Now, with roast, yes, you have to have the strength to chop, but if it's halfway frozen, it's easy for you to slice through it. You just need the upper body strength to push the knife through. Now, if you have a cleaver, it might be better, but we use what we've got. Many times I have gotten a beef roast or a pork roast and chopped it so that I could make something else out of it and leave a portion of the roast together so that the roast can be roast, but the chopped meat could be taco meat, could be a lasagna, could be stew, could be anything. So when you see a roast on sale, if you can get somebody to chop it for you, or you can do it yourself, it will be a good way to save money. Beef is beef, right? I know that some of y'all think that the better cuts would be better useful, and it would taste better. But you can get cheap cuts of meat, chop it up, and use it for anything you want to make. Just remember your roux if you want a sauce, or use your cream of soups and cook down. Now, if you don't have time to cook down like I'm doing now, you can put it in the crock pot, go off to work, do what you need to do, and then finish it up when you get home. It's always a way. You could even use an Instapot. Make sure if you think you need more thickness in your sauce before it's ready, you can add more flour, but you're going to have the flour taste. You need to substitute for what to cover that taste of flour. Now, if you cook it for a minute, it's supposed to not taste like raw flour anymore. You could add a packet of gravy if you'd like. Now gravy is still like 40 cents a packet. So that's a good buy if you can't make sauce yourself. But you only get 1 cup of sauce with the gravy packets. Now I am going to add some onion soup mix to this. I use this type of onion soup mix a lot because it adds just enough flavor so you don't have to spend so much on seasoning at the store. See the color change now that I've added the onion soup mix? We'll cook it a little bit longer and we'll get my meat masher out. This meat masher works really good to break up pieces of meat as you're cooking. I got my grandson one for like $10 and he just loves it. He's got his own tools now, see? Each time I go to visit, I'll bring him another tool for his cooking and show him how to use it. And that will help him be able to provide when he becomes a family man. He'll know all these little tricks to make the meal feed more people and taste really good. You need to cook this down so that it breaks up the meat more. You don't want to take a bite of your meat pie and just get a big old chunk of meat. You want everything mixed together very well. It's hot. Roast can be tough if you don't cook it enough. So if you decide to cut up a roast and make it into something else, make sure you either marinate it or you cook it very, very well in a sauce so that it'll tenderize. Now, yes, you could use one of your mallets to tenderize it, or the new thing is there's a handle that has little prongs on it that you can push through the meat and tenderizes it. But I don't trust that one because you have to push really hard to get those needles through. They're actually not needles, they're, kind of spikes. Also, when you wash them, you have to push to release these spikes so that you can wash them in soap and water. Now, that's kind of dangerous because you could stab yourself doing it. especially when you're not watching under the soapy water. I'm going to get ready to fill the pastry shells so that when it's ready we can just fill them, egg wash them, and cook them at 400 for 40 minutes. I didn't make my pastry shells. I bought some from the store because I don't have the area to roll out dough. We'll start with 4 ready to fill. And now I will get my egg wash ready. I'm going to do 2 eggs because I also have need of an egg wash for my apple pies. Change my gloves. Stir my eggs up. Let's see here. Just a little bit longer and it should be ready to fill the pastry shells. Let's get some of that brown off of there so the flavors stay in the meat. See how it's vanishing from the pan? Okay, now we need this to cool for a little bit before we fill the pastry shells. Add a tiny bit more. You don't want to fill them too full because then it'll all squirt out while you're cooking them. I'm going to fill them with the apples. It also has cinnamon and sugar and butter and a little bit of cornstarch to thicken the sauce. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the dough and we're going to fold it over like this. Press it together. This is where you take your egg wash and you get the sides so that they'll stick together. Then you wash the top just so that it has a nice golden brown top. Then you take a fork and you press it together like this. And there you have it. I think a metal fork would work better. See? Squish it down. You could fill this pastry dough with anything you'd like. You could put breakfast tacos in it. You could put veggies and potatoes. A nice single serving of a snack, maybe some cheese and ham. It's all up to you what you want to put inside it. Some of the stuffing's coming out. That's where you shove it back in and you put your little fork in there to seal it. Okay, now we're going to brush the rest with the egg wash. So it gets nice and golden brown. Now I need to get my pan, my sheet pan, and put some parchment paper on it. parchment paper doesn't keep moving around on this, is to ball it up into a ball. And there, see? It fits nicely. Now we'll spray the pan. Place them on the parchment paper. Just like that. Now we're going to set this pan aside. Get some more gloves because we've gotten that raw egg on the gloves, and you don't want to mix and contaminate the rest of your food. Hands are a little sweaty, so they're not going in the gloves real good, but I'll get there. So now we're going to take more shells, pastry shells, and place them out so we can fill the rest. This would be a good after-school snack for your children. Just put you some cheese on there and some ham, or some other kind of lunch meat, or chunks of meat. You could slice up some chopped up ham and put it in there with the child's favorite cheese, and then bake it in the oven, and they would have a nice treat when they came home from school. So many dirty dishes I need to do. That's fine. Dinner will be ready when it's time for dinner. So we have nothing to worry about. Let me scoop out some of the meat and sauce. Make sure you keep it in the middle. See, you can't even see all those vegetables that are in it, so they'll never know that they're there. Need a spoon. Make sure you don't fill them too full. We still have some of this left. We could add some more broth and some more vegetables and make it into a beef soup. Push to seal the sides. Let's get these folded. Then we'll do the rest. Fold it over and squish it. Make your little creases. Try not to rip the dough. And then there's your meat pie. All you have to do is cook it. This one looks very pretty. Some of them don't look so pretty, but as long as they taste good, I won't hear any complaints. Get another pan and another parchment paper. Now I have a small kitchen, and yes, you can see it's very cluttered. But I don't have anywhere to put anything. I live in a tiny space. But we all make do, don't we? Thank you. Have a good day.